Hello everyone, this is a video to review a little bit on the major triad and the minor triad that we covered today, but also to add one more type of triad that you'll need for the B3 quests, and that's a diminished triad. If you'd like to follow along in the textbook, I'm going to be going over pages 389 through 391. First, let's talk about the major triad. As with all the triads, it has 2/3, okay? So if you're asked to write, let's say, a major triad starting on the note G, okay, without even knowing what the sharps or flats are, you'll need to enter a third above the G, which would be a B, and then another third above the B would be a D. Okay, so these are the 2/3 that I'm talking about. If you notice that if you have the triad correctly, all of the notes would be either on lines or spaces. So that's another way you can figure out if that's on the right track. After you've done that, then what you need to do is make sure that you have the correct thirds. So for a major triad, the bottom third has to be a major third. So that's talking about from the G to the B. It has to be a major third. Okay, so again, this is G and this is the B. It highlighted the three notes of the triad here in the keyboard, so you can see from the G to the B here, there are 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that's a major third. Conversely, from B to D, okay, from B to D, there's only 3 half steps. So 1, 2, 3 half steps, okay? So that means that from B to D is a minor third. So this configuration, GBD, with the major third on the bottom and the minor third on top is exactly what you need for a major triad. So no accidentals needed for this triad. Let's move on to talking about the minor triad. Let's say I'm going to keep writing a minor triad on G, starting on G. So again, the notes I need are G, B, and D. Right? We just said that these are the notes of the major triad, so of course these are not the notes from the minor triad. The minor triad is the reverse of the major triad in that it needs the minor third on the bottom and the major third on top. So from G to B currently is there are 4 half steps, so that means that it's a major third from G to B. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 half steps. In order to make this a minor third without changing the G, because G is sort of the question that's being asked here, we're trying to write an answer for the G minor triad. So instead of changing the G, I'd have to make this B a B flat. Right? You can see that on the keyboard, it adjusted the key from B to B flat and shrinking the interval from G to B flat to a minor third with 3 half steps. Because of that, you can also see that we made the interval between the middle note and the top note bigger. Okay, it went from a minor third to a major third. So here you now have a minor triad. That is to say, on the bottom is a minor third, on the top is a major third. Right, and you can see that. You can see an explanation of that on page 390. One more type of triad is called the diminished triad that we're going to use in this class. Okay, and diminished triad has 2 minor thirds. Okay, so that's the easier one because you don't have to think about which one's on the top, which one's on the bottom. For a G diminished triad, again we start with G, B, and D. Okay, I'm gonna take this natural out here just for clarity's sake for the time being. Okay, and for the diminished triad, you need again 2 minor thirds. So from G to B, I'll have to adjust that to a B flat. And then from B flat to D at the moment, it's a major third, as we talked about in the minor triad. So in order to make that a minor third, I'll have to lower the D to D flat. And you can see that, again, it adjusted itself on the keyboard. Right now it highlights the notes G, B flat, and D flat, and that's the notes of a G diminished triad, right? And also on the keyboard, you can see that all of the highlighted notes in blue, they're all 3 half steps apart. So from G to B flat, and also from B flat to D flat, all 3 half steps. That means they're both minor thirds, right? So again, here's a G major triad. That's a major third on the bottom, minor third on top. You have a G minor triad. That's a reverse of that, so minor third on the bottom, major third on top. And then the diminished triad has 2 minor thirds. Okay, so that's a review of the types of triads you need to know for B3.